Hello, it's Andrew here yet again, and today we're on episode number 180. Woo! And we're coming towards the end of chapter 24 of Matthew's Gospel, and we're picking up again the narrative where Jesus is talking about being ready for his return. I'm actually focusing on verses 45 through to 51, but for context I'm going to pick it up at verse 44. Therefore, says Jesus, you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Who then is the faithful and wise slave, whom his master has put in charge of his household, to give the other slaves their allowance of food at the proper time? Blessed is that slave whom his master will find at work when he arrives. Truly I tell you, he will put that one in charge of all his possessions. But if that wicked slave says to himself, my master is delayed, and he begins to beat his fellow slaves and eats and drinks with drunkards, the master of that slave will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour that he does not know. He will cut him in pieces and put him with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So what Jesus is talking about, I want to suggest, is more than simply being in a state of readiness. It's about a fundamental commitment to who we are or who we want to be. There's a sense of choice that we all have. I found it interesting, even as I was just reading, before he'd done anything wrong, if that wicked slave says to himself, my master is delayed, there's the potential within each one of us to choose a path that is not life-giving. And so it's about deciding how we want to live, about what is important enough for us that we will order our life around it. I watched a video clip by a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Hardy. I don't quite know how I got onto his email address book, but I did. He's a psychologist, he's a blogger, he's an author, and he makes this, I think, quite profound suggestion. He says that making a 100% commitment is actually easier than 98%. You commit yourself to something 100%, it's an easier thing to do than committing yourself to something to 98%, where you've got a little bit of wriggle room. I think he's right. The steward in Jesus' narrative has not made a 100% commitment. Not the latter part anyway. Tomorrow will be fine. Tomorrow I'll start behaving myself. Tomorrow I'll clean my act up. I have time. I can put on a good show when it's required. I can give all the appearance of being the right person, doing a good job when it's required. He wants the benefits of the life the Master has bequeathed him, without, I'd suggest, the responsibilities that go with it. Certainly all of them. Making a 100% commitment to a new life is easier, I think Hardy's right, than making a 98% commitment to it. And 98%, we still have our toe in the old life. That 2% can grow and reclaim more of us as we get slippage. And as I'm talking, I'm sure you've all got examples in your own life across a whole lot of addictive patterns that are likely to be there. You may not have that many, but there'll be something for each of us where we recognize that when we've failed to make a 100% commitment, the old continues to grab hold of us and draw us back into its vortex. It drags us back into our old life, and we can find ourselves in a place wondering, how did I get here again? Any of us who have tried a weight loss diet of any kind will know how true this is. It is. The steward in our story has not made a 100% commitment to a new way of life. The Master actually believes that he has it in him. He sees the potential. He recognizes that this person could be a very good steward. He also recognizes that he could choose otherwise, and that he may not choose to exercise the strength of character that's required for him to do the right thing. The steward ultimately believes that he can have his cake and eat it. He likes his old way of life, although he hates it at the same time. And he doesn't really want to let go of it. What he fails to recognise is that the bit that is less than 100% will and is poisoning him. It always leaves him less than he could be, smaller than he could aspire to be, diminished. There's a place where he's not able to live with integrity. He will always be conflicted between who he is and who the better part of him knows he could be, or to be, actually wants to be. The better part of him wants to be different, wants to be the 100%er, wants to be whole, wants to be unconflicted, wants to be able to live and look in the mirror at a person with integrity. The tragedy is that it's the 2% part of him that's ultimately in control. Imagines that the master will return at a time when all his ducks are in a row, when everything has been cleaned up, not when he's in the middle of one of his drunken orgies with his unfortunate friends. The truth is that life doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You just need to observe the train wrecks all around of people who have made some poor choices and have ultimately got caught out in the middle of them. It may be that he has the odd near miss, close shave, but ultimately he's going to get caught out. See, this is a character issue, and I believe that character is ultimately defined by the choices that we make. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said that character is destiny. Think about that for a moment. Character is destiny. The choices that we consistently make will ultimately determine whom we become. It's true. The character choices we make will set us on a trajectory to who we become. D.L. Moody, the great American evangelist of a bygone era, he once said, character is who we are in the dark. I think he's right. It's who we are when no one else is looking. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? I find it uncomfortable. And it's easy often to blame our circumstances, to blame the situation in which we find ourselves, to blame the action of others. And indeed, these can all come into play. Yet the core issue is the choices that we consistently make. Thomas à Kempis once said, and I think this is very wise, he says, occasions make not a man, or presumably a woman, to fail. They show what the man is. Occasions don't make us not to fail. They show what we are. It's uncomfortable. Yep. Maybe for you, for me also. Well, Jesus is offering us an invitation. We're going to be 100%ers. Are you? Am I? God bless you.